Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. 2 keys to manifest a relationship into your life. More love, a relationship could be with a specific person. Maybe it's just trying to get maybe you haven't even met them yet. Could be someone that's just around the corner. One of the easiest ways to get a relationship into your life is to do these 2 couple steps, these 2 key areas of your life. And first and foremost, the most important thing that all of us need to remember and need to know, Neville Goddard even talked about it, but love is our birthright. There's a video below I did on that specific topic. But ultimately, we are love. We come from love. Love is what we are. So if you're looking for love in your life, being love or being conscious of the fact that you are love already is going to play a huge, huge role in your success. If you somehow feel like love is something you're trying to get, he says those that are loveless never find love. And that's true. When you separate yourself from that which you already are, when you separate yourself, you no longer are it. And when that happens, you create the situation where you've manifested separation from something that's already you. And when we do that, we create this weird scenario where love doesn't exist, but it's made up. Love is your birthright. Love is who you are. Being love, being more loving to anyone and everyone and animals and little roly-polies walking down the street that flipped over on their back, help them over. Be more loving. You will see a huge difference. Also, there's 2, in my mind, key components to manifesting. I haven't really heard it spelled out this way. Give me a little leniency because I actually think this is beautiful. I've messed with this a lot. I've had successes, I've had failures, and I've had a lot of stuff in between. Manifesting relationships with people is a little more complex than the standard law of attraction video suggests. Most law of attraction videos talk about this first part, and they talk about doing the techniques. And let's spend some time with that, because that's a key part of manifesting. There's no question about it. It's the second part, I think, where maybe some poetic license I'm asking for. But the components at work, the technique, you got a lot of different kinds of techniques out there. I'm not trying to do a video on techniques. What I'm saying, though, is understanding that the technique is key. And really, the major important part to manifesting when it comes to any technique, any of them in the market, anything that anybody's selling, when you can see the actual manifestation, you can see it in your mind's eye, it actually exists as a thought process in your head. When you can see it, and then feel it like it's real. Essentially, I call it pretending. You basically pretend or make believe that you have it right now. You do it in the present moment, and you feel like you have it right now. Now, the key is the feeling. The key is the feeling. Techniques are meant to inspire a feeling, and that feeling is what your subconscious uses and runs off and makes it so. In fact, when we have feelings of varying kinds all over the place, feelings of fear, feelings that they don't like us, feelings that we don't care, right? That inner dialogue. When we have those kinds of fears at work, that also is creative and unfortunately sort of a negative creation. So have that feeling of the wish fulfilled. They call that living in the end. That's certainly one of the techniques. You've got the lullaby method. They recommend going into this mental space where you're right before you go to bed, you can't really feel your body, and then you feel it and you kind of fall asleep into that wonderful feeling of having your dream come true. You've got, again, the wish fulfilled. You can do things like lists. You can do vision boards. Again, they're meant to inspire the thought and the feeling. Vision boards do that very well, right? You look at the picture, you see some sort of image, you want to experience that with the person you love or this love person that you're going to meet. And that inspires a feeling. So that's why vision boards are so wonderful. Lists are fantastic. I highly recommend them, but I'm going to get onto those here in the second part because I think really this is where a lot of the action's at. The first part, in my opinion, manifests the meeting, manifests the getting together, manifests the communication, manifests the start of it all. It'll get you in front of them. The technique, without a doubt, will get you in front of them. I do not believe you can force others to do things. I know some people like to say that. There is the us pushed out concept. We'll tend to project out onto others. And ultimately, Goddard talks about not necessarily needing to inspire or influence others. The reason is when you manifest what it is, the proper actors and actresses are going to come into your life. They're going to play the part in your movie, and it's going to play out beautifully. Don't worry about who that is or how that comes to be. Your higher self, your conscious, subconscious, whatever, is aware of doing things that we're not. It can see where we can't. I liken it to, it's like the eagle soaring above the forest, right? And we're down in the forest, and all we see is trees everywhere, and we're trying to figure out how to get to a safe place. And the eagle, flying above, can see all around, can see past our obstructions, can see past what we're stuck in the middle of, and we can't see despite the nose of our face, right? We can't see further than our own face. So when we're in that place, the higher self will lead us. When we try to control it from where we're at, then we tend to actually guide ourselves into funky places. So you've got to understand the techniques are going to get you to the location. That's the easy part. Truly, in my mind, that's the easy part. Part two, and I think this is the really important part, but emotional obstacles is one of the key things. When people don't truly love themselves, it's kind of in this genre. So it's this whole self-care, the whole part of taking care of ourselves, making sure we're content in our own lives, making sure that we're whole, complete people. When we're coming at relationships from that place, you feel very, very different when you meet somebody. That's the big difference. I don't know if you've ever met somebody that maybe was a little crazy, or maybe you met somebody that was just aloof. Maybe you've met people before that were so into you, it was kind of weird, like it almost put you off. I don't know if you've ever met people that wanted to take things way too fast. And if you've experienced that, it can feel a little weird and a little awkward. The energy that we're radiating when we meet them, I say energy, it's just how you feel. You've met good people, you've met bad people. That one evil guy walks into the room and everyone's like, right? Like you could feel that. That's your energy. That's your vibration, or that's your vibe, as we used to kind of say back in the day. You want to have that working tip-top performance. I'm going to manifest ability to get in front of somebody, but if I walk up to them and I'm like, and that's it, and that's all they get from me, it's probably not going to go to phase two. As much as I want to do manifesting techniques that we're in together, we're love and all this stuff, if I'm energetically not attractive when they meet me, and vice versa, by the way, sometimes people aren't who we think they are, but if I'm not actually figured out in my own little world, if I don't have my own situation healthy, then that is what I am going to attract, what I am energetically. Now, maybe the person you're interested in is a perfect fit for that. And I want you to understand, people are perfect for each other. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying if you're not perfect and you're walking around like an angel that you're not going to manifest your love. Absolutely not. What I am saying is being the right person for who you're going to be with. And I don't mean us not being legitimate and real, but if maybe I'm an outgoing individual and I end up getting with someone that's not outgoing, that's going to be weird and that can cause some problems. It's a bit of an odd match. So sometimes we've got to make sure that we're a bit more energetically a match than maybe we realize, right? Sometimes you don't necessarily know somebody until you spend some time working with them. So making sure, again, if it's an ex or something like that, making sure we don't have any sort of bad anger in us, any sort of resentment towards them, any sort of upset feelings towards them. If we've got those kinds of things, we need to let go of that. Again, doesn't feel good. If maybe griping and being upset at them or whatever was part of why you guys broke up, let's look at what was happening. Let's address that. And let's try to maybe do some ho'oponopono, maybe do some astral letters for forgiveness, maybe just forgive them in general in any sort of way that you're aware of. But you want to make sure that you're coming at it, again, from a very energetically good standpoint. 2, self-love. A lot of the times, we are attracted to what we are already internally. We are attracted and draw to us what we are energetically already. So again, we're creating the situation where I'm going to bump into somebody. The people that are attracted to me, and I am likely attracted to as well, are generally going to be a very equal match in energy. Now, sometimes these energies can be a little not quite whole people, like we've talked about, and maybe in those relationships, there's some struggle, there's some fights, but whatever. You guys are moving along and grooving. You've manifested your relationship. Maybe it's just someone that, you're going to learn some lessons through in the process, and then maybe evolve to who knows what. But you could also very much be experiencing that other whole person. Because as you're working on your self-love, as you're working on becoming a better person internally, As you work on being happy as you are, finding things that you're interested in, finding a career that you like, finding hobbies that keep you happy and keep you entertained, spending time singing and dancing throughout the day, whatever you do to keep yourself in that great, happy energy space, realizing that we're all here together, life's awesome. When you come at it from that standpoint, the people you meet, again, are going to be of that equal energy. So you're trying to manifest love. If you're failing to spend the time on the internal stuff, what you're going to manifest will be a relationship and will be successful in that regard. But sometimes it doesn't quite work out how we like. And sometimes when it comes to specific people, where we're at energetically can play a huge difference. Now, again, if you're just trying to manifest a relationship with anyone, like to meet the right person, that is, in my opinion, much easier because wherever you come at it from, you're going to manifest a situation where you bump into somebody, somehow, whatever. And then energetically, you're going to be attracted to each other based off of that energy. So you're going to have that chemistry. It's going to fire off. You're going to know. It's awesome. And then you just run down and experience the relationship like everybody else. Where a lot of us get a little weird is when it comes to the specific people. And the reason that is because they're extremely specific energy themselves, and we're an extremely specific energy ourselves. And if there's any sorts of murkiness or any sorts of troubles in those waters, we'll actually find it tends to be more difficult. When we're coming at these situations, who we're being internally is of the most importance. It needs to be something that works with them. And if you're spiritually evolving and they're not, we start to get an imbalance. It starts to become very difficult because now you're just different energies. And you can't force somebody to change. You can be that one that helps them up. But again, sometimes energetically we can change. Sometimes they can change. There's always hopes. So sometimes when you hold the end, when you hold the image and you don't worry about having to make the people do things, right? You let them be the actors that need to happen in your play. When you spend the time holding that vision, making sure that your self-love is solid, making sure you're doing as much as you can internally to be the best person you can be. When you're coming at it from both of these angles, and I mean this, no matter who they are, specific people, not specific people, when you're holding it that way, people will play the parts they need to play. And you will continue to move in the direction you need to go. It is one of the biggest keys that people don't like to do, and that's the working on yourself aspect. These two keys will guarantee that you find love, that you find a relationship. They will push you in that direction. Now, again, specific people can get a little on the difficult side. It depends. Those things can work out, though. You stay focused on it. You stay heading towards the same direction. You see it happening. You feel it. You live in the end as often as you can, and that doesn't mean you pretend they're holding your hand all day. But that means you feel like you're together. You feel that love already. You feel that energy. You feel that connectedness. You feel together. You realize you are energetically. And you continue moving through your paces, through life, day to day, until but a moment's time. And then you will have your meeting with them. And from there, you move forward and onward. You need to have that meeting. You need to be in person. And when you are, and you're presenting the finest version of the best vision you ever held of yourself, at that time, you and your lover will begin your journey together. It's Dan RadioStyle.